Chapter 27, Child of Illusion. There's another way to counter the whopper of misconception that we're nouns rather than verbs, and that's through the lens of science, particularly quantum mechanics. I'm unsure how to present this idea. As the great physicist Richard Feynman once tweeted, "If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics." With that disclaimer, let me attempt to paint with limited strokes. On the big scale, we rely on classical or Newtonian physics to explain what we observe. An apple falls from a tree. Gravity pulls it towards my head or to the ground. Very sensible stuff. The math is outrageously dependable. It can get you to the moon and back. But when we increase the magnification and look at the real small stuff, the mechanistic world that we agree on falls apart. The story gets kinky. You enter the world of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, wave-particle dichotomy, spooky action at a distance, quantum entanglement, and instant communication over huge expanses of time and space. Einstein's Nobel Prize-winning research from 1905 showed that light, which had been conventionally regarded as waves, was also composed of photons, tiny bullets of energy particles. Later physicists showed that light and matter, which we assume are so real, may exist as both particles and waves. We are in a totally interactive universe with no objectively real thing in here and no objectively real thing out there. Can be very upsetting. Actually, it's worse than that, writes scientist Robert Lanza in Beyond Biocentrism. These entities can also exist in two or more places at once, in a kind of blurry, probabilistic fashion. This means that the electron or photon doesn't enjoy any independent existence as an actual object in a real place, with a real motion. Instead, it exists only probabilistically. And we're made from these sort of here, kind of there, kind of not here, maybe a wave, maybe a particle, probabilities. If these ideas seem bizarre, they relate to the basic underpinnings of Buddhism. I call them the double E's, emptiness and egolessness. This is my current fantasy about these truths. This explanation is not Buddhist doctrine, it's my own take. Best I can figure is that you, your soul, your me, is a necessary part of the journey towards awakenness. Your journey to essence love contributes to the creativity and the sustenance of the universe. There's never been a me who's outside looking in. That sense of a solid me is the universe compassion, as well as it needs to know itself and to create. You and I were given or earned a form, the human body, that is convincingly separate. The good news is that it isn't separate, and you don't have to stay limited inside a never-ending story of self-protection. You can lose yourself in the dance, in the party. This solid sense of me actually has plenty of holes in it. The ego self is smart, but not so smart as to be able to sustain 100% certainty of itself. That's why we're driven to become happy and why we're almost always anxious. The spacesuit of the self has leaks. Those leaks are your nature, compassion, and wisdom breaking down the illusion of a separate, solid, never-changing me. That's the first E, egoless. The second E, also ridiculously simple and as bizarre as anything in quantum physics, is that the whole thing, meaning what we experience as life, is formed pretty much out of thin air and light. The more you investigate the seeming solidity objects, the more you scrutinize the universe's objective reality, the more you realize how uncertain it all is. It's like a rainbow. It takes space and light, awareness, and a certain perspective for a rainbow to be seen. But a rainbow is, like us, only an optical display. It's light refracting in space, and it exists only from the point of view. The energetic building block of water, without which we could not see rainbows, is the atom. But the atoms are mostly space, The atom's nucleus is like the sun of our solar system, and the electrons are like planets in its orbit. If the nucleus were the size of a basketball, the electrons would be 3 miles away. At the quantum level, atoms aren't really even there. Their existence is a statistical probability, and so atoms have some very strange protean qualities. Anything can show up because they're empty of any inherent thingness. To quote Gertrude Stein, there is no there. And yet we're certain that a real me is seeing something real out there. I have followed, as an intellectual exercise, quantum physics for 50 years. It's mind-boggling, exciting stuff, but in the end leaves me no happier. As a Norwegian bachelor farmer from Lake Wobegon once asked me, how does this help me grow corn? How does this help me get happier? The answer, for me, is that it makes my view of reality less certain. And I've noticed that the less certain I am about stuff, the happier I get. Less certainty, more light, much better life. Quantum physics blows my mind and widens my narrow view of reality, but it's up to me to turn that into joy. I wish I could say that it's easy. You press a button, eat the right food, have an epiphany, do mindfulness for a few minutes a day, but it's not that easy. You're going against profound habits of mind, where every experience confirms a house of sand, a shaky reality built on a stack of cards. But the more you question your certainty of a solid me in there and a mine out there, you notice how the corners of your lips start to curl into a grin. Humor melts the solidity and the armor of illusory self. You do the lighten up. The method to becoming really happy, the path to joy, is to notice when you're happy. What are the feelings? What is the state of your heart and mind that allow happiness to arise? And then acknowledge that you like being joyous and feel it. This is a big part of the process. You wire the experience into the neocortex, the prefrontal lobe, where we experience joy and compassion. And guess what? Just like you pump your biceps or glutes at the gym, you work your happiness muscles and habits. All it takes is letting go of certainty. There's a saying. In post-meditation, become a child of illusion. Isn't that wonderful? Memorize this and let it pop through your day. We have so many take this seriously and take yourself seriously imperatives in our head. It's marvelous to allow some don't take this seriously thoughts to have their moment and to be more childlike.